Right. Hello everyone. How's it going? It's been a long time since I have done a live stream. So thanks for watching, and we'll get to some painting here. I had quite a morning setting everything up, and let's see if we can find and get a few things rolling. If I pull up my stuff here. Yeah, this guy is what I want to watch. So I can watch the comments. Let's see. Feel free to drop a question in the chat, and hopefully I'll see it here. And I'll resize my windows. Nope, gotta go a little bigger than that. There we go. Awesome. All right. So really exciting. I'm working on a new panel for a local school here in town. I keep in Mount Carmel Catholic High School. And this is the beginning. So you get to kind of watch from the outset what's happening and what's going on. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to try to do this on the regular so you can watch this painting coming into being. We'll see how that goes, but I'm going to give it a shot. Yes, hello, Anna Wood. It seems like I know you from somewhere. I don't know where. You get the support of your folks, of your people, maybe even your spouse. Okay, let's do this. You probably want to see some painting and not some John. So I did get started yesterday just a little bit, had a few hours, and you can see I've got a few things blocked in, but it is really just the start. I've got my palette cam going on right here, so you'll be able to watch some of the color mixing, and you'll be able to see some of the colors here. I'll try to do all this as best I can. Going to be a little challenging to, let's see, to check those comments as they come. Let's see if I can adjust this just a little more. I'll still show those bottom comments. Getting closer. Things I should have done before I got started, but I got a little excited. And so for those of you who are like watching later, you can just say, oh, I'll just fast forward. For all you watching now, sorry that you'll have to endure some of this adjustment. I just knew I was running out of time for the day. I'm going to try to work on this for the next 2-ish hours, and then I have to go. So we'll just see how far we get. And yeah. There we go. Get my reference set up. Awesome. All right. Hey, I think I got it. Okay, cool. Let's paint. My name is Vince. I'm out of Wichita, Kansas. I have a school called Wichita Fine Art Atelier, so I'm actually at the atelier right now working. You'll see, get to kind of see in the feed here, I've got the palette cam, I've got the overall size, so you can kind of see the size of the image. Also put my reference that I'm working from. I took these images, hired a model, took these images because this panel will consist of 4 saints, and today we're working on Saint Dymphna. And so please feel free, shoot me a message, a question, anything at all. I'll try to keep yammering, but that gets hard after a while, and I just kind of quietly paint. So if you want to hear something, ask something, or just put it on in the background and let it roll. and go do something else. That's fine too. YouTube doesn't mind that, I don't think. All right. I'm using a little bit of Chelsea Classical Studios Lavender Spike Oil Medium. And yeah, let's get started. Just get a little bit on the brush here so that it's nice and pliable and ready to go. And I'm going to dive back in. I got a good start yesterday blocking in, and this is kind of a tiling method that I use, blocking in a few of these shapes. And really now I'm just interested in getting coverage everywhere, because as you can see, not everything is painted in. So let's see how far we get in the next 2-ish hours, or until I get tired of talking. All right, diving in. See if my colors are still a little tacky from yesterday. All right, I'm gonna get some of these light values in here. We got some really nice light values here in the face, and kind of start there. We're getting a nice big brush here. We want bigger shapes where we can handle it. For some of these highlights, I'm mixing yellow, using cad yellow and cad red to get this nice kind of light highlight here. You can see right around the edge of the nose, and you can see how quickly that adds just a little more brightness. If you look at my reference there, very bright around the edges here. So there we go. I can get a few of these shapes in as I continue to work on it. I kind of bounce around a lot from space to space. I don't end up spending a terrible long time on any part, really. I'll see something and I'm like, ooh, that needs adjusting, and so I will make an adjustment. So I don't. That's one of those weird things. You just follow your gut. Something will suddenly bug me, and I'll be like, oh, well, that needs to be changed. And so I'll dive in to make that change. All right, just getting warmed up. So hey, thank you. If you watched, I did a lot of streaming about 4 years ago, and I liked doing it, but it's been a long time. So if you enjoy this, like, subscribe, do all those things that makes me think, oh yeah, people actually want to see what's happening. Because otherwise, I don't know. It's a lot of effort to put all this together, and the setup, and if you look at my artwork, you can only imagine how many various cameras and things I've got rolling in here. Actually, you can see very well if you look at the overall big space there. You can see exactly what it kind of looks like in here. It's a little bit of a mess. So if you are wanting into the studio today, you should really message me on the live stream, because otherwise my phone is actually one of the cameras right now. Had to learn that little bit of trick. So hope no one needs in the building. If so, we watch this later. Apologize now. All right. So the paint's a little tacky from yesterday. Man, it was feeling really good yesterday. I was so sad to stop painting. Sometimes painting is just like in the flow, and it's so good, and you don't want to stop, but you say, you know what? I need to go home and go home to my family, not stay at the studio the whole time. But it was flowing yesterday. Wow. I wanted to keep going. Maybe someday. All right. One of the things I'm looking at here is I'm really trying to, all of these, you can kind of see the color all the way around here, right? This is this is the layer that I put down to just give me a tone to work on. I could call it my ground layer. And that means I'm not working on white, I'm working on the tone. And I find that to be really helpful, because right now, a lot of these areas that are undone would be like bright white. So I can't see them as much because of the tone that's here, but my goal is still to eliminate all of that where I can find it. So I'm just trying to start to fill in some of the areas that I still see are undone. And really, that's all I'm going to chase here with everybody today. And hopefully you'll get something that's helpful. Hey, Wise Jack, thanks for the comment. Appreciate the kind words. Wise Jack, if you have any other questions, just feel free to drop them off. Love having you here. Thank you for being here. Even a small, even a comment like that makes, okay, good, I should keep doing this. So appreciate it. All right, so you're gonna fill in some areas. So you might notice that things are still very blocky, and I want to avoid a lot of mixing, like kind of blending on the painting itself. I want to still let each one of those strokes sort of stand on its own. And so, yeah, here goes. Just making marks here and there. So I've got a little bit of a warmer, orangier skin tone here. I see a little bit at the bottom of the lip. And really, that edge kind of almost gets lost here. And that's okay. Those are the things that are exciting for painters. Ooh, a lost edge. Super fun and exciting. It took a long time for me to be okay with like letting the paint do the work, and allowing the mark and a few things to kind of stand on their own, so that it made things interesting. For a long time it was just like, can I make it look like the thing I'm trying to paint? And I'm happy to realize, there's so much more. Even though I'd been painting for almost 20 years, how much more it became about the mark and watching things happen. So I'm painting Saint Dymphna, and a quick Google search will tell you all about her life, and a really sad story, but she's the patron saint of mental health, and let's be honest, we all need a little bit of help these days. Some hard times a lot of us face, and so she's a good one for struggling. Saint Dymphna. Spelled her name down there, so you can look it up and research as you feel led. All right, just a few marks here and there. I'll see a little bit extra light here, and I say, ooh, I want to capture that shape. But probably what I should do is get out to a little bit smaller brushes. These are a little big, but I like to use about the biggest brush I can to paint with a shape rather than with a line. But eventually I will have to get out my liners and use, for some of these areas around the eye. And you'll get to see me, sort of saving the best for last when I put the little dot glint on the eye, where, all of a sudden it like comes to life in a way you couldn't possibly imagine. So if this is one of your first times watching, check out the cam that kind of shows the size of the image that I'm going to be working on. My goal in the next few months with you is just to turn this thing on, no matter where I am. If I'm like up on a scaffold here working on an upper area, or if I'm standing and walking back and forth, that'll be a little bit more challenging with all the cams, but we're going to figure out a way to kind of just walk around, move around this whole painting together over the next few months. So please, do the thing, like, subscribe, comment, all those things that helps this get out there into the world. All right, I'm going to start adding a little more detail to the eyes. I know that you can't see it as well as I can here in person, but I don't have a lot going on here just yet, and there's quite a bit of information that is not quite there yet. So I got out my liner, just a small little brush, some longer bristles, so that I can start adding a few areas of light. I see this nice edge of light on this lower eyelid, and I want to bring that out just a little bit here, and I'll just drop that in. And that's probably a little too much, probably a little exaggerated, but that's okay right now. That may change later. All right, we're gonna do that again here. A little bit more light on the upper eyelid before it turns around this way. Let's see, we're gonna get another brush out. I don't really clean my brushes as much as just get a bunch of them, and they become various like value brushes. They become a thing where, oh, I use that one for lighter values, that one for darker values, and you know, mixing usually needs to happen anyway. So when I'm looking at this shape right inside the eyelid, I see it's very kind of warm and pinkish, and so like I mixed a little color here. I'm gonna kind of drop this pink because we're seeing the underside of the eyelid. The light's traveling through that really soft and frankly, it's not very thick, right? Our eyelids, and so light travels through that. It gets really warm on the underside there. Wise Jack. It is a big. It's about a little over 9 feet by just a little over 4. So yeah, it's gonna take a bit. And there's a lot of boring parts. You know, I'm working on a face today. That's exciting. You know, just wait till I'm working on like the background right over here. You know, I might not stream for those moments because they just won't be all that exciting. You know, it's exciting to watch like big things come together, big planes of the face. But yeah, it's definitely fun right now to share. All right. I'll use, you know what, I'll set up a little table. It's not OSHA compliant, Wise Jack. I'll set up a table and kind of set all of this, everything that you see here on top of that table with a few things so that I don't roll off or do anything crazy. But then I do also have a step ladder for a lot of the intermediate spaces. So it just kind of depends on where I'm working and how long that takes. The last 2, so I've already made 2 of these panels, and I should probably include some images of those at some point, maybe like the start of my next stream or something like that, so you can see the previous ones. Those will, those are already installed in the chapel. They are, the space is just awesome altogether. Really transformed chapel life there at the high school. So it's very exciting. I'm just excited I get to make this one, and then the plan is that there will be a couple more after this too. There's 6 areas that we're going to try to fill with saints and stories, and these are all saints the student body and faculty help select. So these are lives that are influential to those students. When they see these saints, they think, you know, gosh, what a life lived, and so really exciting to be a part of that. I don't know that I could ask for anything more. All right, I like some of these warms right on this edge. A lot of times where our light turns into our shadow, there'll be this edge that sometimes, because light's traveling through the skin there, it will get just a little warmer, or the color, sometimes you'll have this little bump of chroma. Chroma is color saturation, how saturated a color is. And saturation, you could also think of like purity, like how pure is the color. When you think about red, there is like red, right? But if you start mixing a lot of things with that red, then it changes and it looks like something different. And then it's not as saturated or not as pure as it used to be. You can play a lot with that saturation on these edges here to really create a lot of chroma and a lot of excitement in your artwork. See, we're going to get this all darkened up here. Thanks, Wise Jack. Appreciate it. Well, like I said, we'll see how long I can go before my voice starts giving out. Or I have to have a bathroom break, or I don't know, something. You get to hear the big echoey room. My studio is in an old elementary school, and so this is a classroom space built in the 20s, and it's really nice. Got nice big windows to my left here, face a little north and a little east, and really allows for some great light throughout the day, but also it'll be subject to, like, the video we're watching will be subject to those light changes. So right now there's a cloud that has passed over the sun, so we're getting this a little dim, but that should change here shortly. It's not too cloudy here today in Wichita, Kansas. All right, slowly just building up some of these shapes. You know, I kind of think about it, maybe describe it as some hunting and pecking, like you would if you hadn't quite learned typing. That same process is, I'm just going to look around, and when something strikes me, it's like, oh, that really needs to change. I'll come in and make that shift, or like, oh, that needs color that it doesn't have yet. Got a little bit of walnut oil gel up here too to soften out some of these edges. Again, I don't want to do too much blending on the painting itself. I really want to let some of these shapes stand, because if you start blending a lot, you're actually going to lose the beauty of the oil color. What'll happen is, if you've mixed these nice colors and you're using them, you'll find that all of a sudden your color just kind of deadens. As long as you don't mix, you gotta kind of keep it almost. I mean, you know, my work, you'll notice it's not impressionistic by any stretch, but what it does do is those shapes next to a shape next to another color shape, it creates more volume. Creates more color vibrancy, and ultimately I think more interest, because we're just leaving enough of the mark for it to still look and feel like a painting, and we want it to remain a painting, right? Like, we know what we're doing. I'm not trying to trick anyone and making this, oh, this is a real thing. You know, everyone knows it's a painting, so we're going to make it a painting, which means some things we're just going to leave a little bit unfinished. All right, see some edges here, a little darker. And maybe I'll take just a little bit of time. Again, I really try to avoid using some of these smaller brushes, but there are times where they do have a place to fill in some of these areas around the eyes. So maybe I'll just spend a little bit of time on the eyes. Obviously, you can see there's a lot of things that need attention, but we'll get to them as we can. All right, and wait, I want to get in this little shape here. I want to see, probably a little too light still. And oftentimes I just want to get something down. So if I get something down, that actually helps me determine, oh, okay, I was close, but now I need to shift that just a bit, so that it's, you know, maybe the color is just slightly off. That's a little too orange. So, you know, anytime I want to, like, bring a color back a little bit, I can mix its opposite side of the color wheel. Like if the chroma is too orangey, and I put this color on the edge here as her face is turning around here, and added just a little bit of the color on the opposite side of the color wheel, and it allows for that to just neutralize just a little bit. And if you're doing skin tones, it's a lot of neutrals. It's, you know, we're all neutrals, and there's no crazy color in skin tones. Very subtle. When you can find some of that subtlety and capture it, It's really exciting. There we go. All right, let's see. I'm gonna see what I can do here around the iris and so forth. Set down some brushes. I'm going to be a little more specific. You know, right now it's very loose. So a lot of this, we'd have to really zoom in at a very high resolution camera for you to see some of the things I'm about to do. So I get it if you're like, this is boring, not much is happening. I'm an art nerd and a painting nerd, and so it's like, it's all very exciting to me. To watch these subtle changes happen in person. Yeah, see even that little warm underside of the eyelid, I put that in and I just was like, yes, love it. All right, so I've got some, you can see the reference, eyes are very light, kind of like blue-green, and I've done the best I could to try to match the color that I'm seeing here and the color that you're seeing there. You know, it's only gonna be so good, but I tried, and so know that while I do have the references here, it's not exactly the goal to paint it, you know, directly as, you know, as I see it, or as the reference would tell, right? I'm like, that's only part of, you know, it's good to help you figure out what it's good to, so you can kind of see, oh, okay, this is a good thing to begin working toward, but it's not the end all, because if we're making a painting, if we're making art, it doesn't have to be the reference at all, but sometimes you'll want a little bit of that. And one of my good friend and partner here at the atelier, his big saying, and I like it to this day, is, you know, good painting is part what you see, part what you know, part what you want to see. And so a lot of times I'm making decisions that are all like, what do I want to see? What do I want this artwork to do? In the painting itself, what's happening that makes me excited? So I'm chasing some of those things down. I think I got a little dark there, so I'm gonna lighten that up, that edge. And as we kind of keep coming in here, you know, this the white of the eye, you know, gosh, that's a whole conversation to be had. You know, the white of the eye. If you're painting or drawing, just know that the whites of the eyes are sort of never white, right? You know, white in any bit of art is never. It has some value, means it has some relative light and darkness. It also, yeah, it's just, it's going to be different. It's going to be some color. And if you make those like whites of the eyes, like the white of the page, or if you just dip into the white there and put on there, it's going to be very glaring. If I were to pick and pull the very, you know, color right here, you'd be surprised. That was something kind of like this here. And you're like, wait a second, that shouldn't be that way, but it's really how it is. A little bit darker underneath there, darker and warmer. And I'm going to get this under this eyelid just a little bit, soften that edge some. Right. Some of this edge too, kind of losing. I don't know if I like that mark I just made. That happens a lot, by the way. It makes something like, ugh, I don't like that. Change a quick thing that just changed it in a way that I didn't really care for. I do that all the time, by the way. So, you know, I think, you know, sometimes you'll look at artists and say, wow, you always make the right decision. No, make the wrong decision all the time. Just a matter of like changing it and working with it until it is right. So ask your friends, grab your fellow artists, those around you, for a little help, fresh eyes to look at something, eyes you trust. I even had a fellow artist here at studio school who I came in yesterday. I was showing him a composition I was working on, and he gave me some really good advice. And I knew it was good advice because I'd already wondered about it. I looked at the work and I was like, well, I wonder if I should. And he just kind of came in immediately and confirmed it. And I was like, well, that's great. So find awesome artists around you in your region. Make sure you're creating with them so they have a little bit of can just help inspire you and keep you on track. Because I'm only one perspective. In fact, here at the atelier, we have people kind of come and going all the time, and it's good for them to kind of to see the work and give me feedback. It's always welcome because the artwork gets better when that happens. I'll have to give a studio tour one of these times. That would be fun. So I'm looking at this edge here. I like the painting right now, but I've got just a little bit more to the bridge of the nose. I'm going to drop that in, just widen that just a tad. If you didn't get a chance to see me draw this, I used a VR headset to kind of sketch this on. It's on my channel. You can watch that too. And you can see how you can kind of use tech to help you lay out a big image like this. It's pretty neat. Worth seeing if you're hanging around. So what happened in that video is you kind of overlay the image on a big canvas like this, and it helps you kind of trace everything out. But that really, it really doesn't help you in the end. Because every one of these little marks I'm making with the brush is a drawing decision. So I'm having to be very careful to make good drawing decisions as I go. Because if I'm going to get off. I'm going to make decisions that I may make a mark and it might bump an edge and it will look wrong after that. So that's a thing that happens all the time. And so really, just because I used the headset to kind of get the image on here is almost meaningless compared to how long and involved the painting process is, which is constant drawing. Every mark is drawing. As I put these little bits of light here on the upper lip, it's a drawing decision. And if I make that shape come down a little too far, if I'm not watching carefully, then it quickly can fall apart, especially when you're doing a portrait or a person. It can go wrong fast. I draw on Sundays. We have Sunday Life Drawing here at the atelier, and it always kind of makes me chuckle because I'll be drawing for the live model, and I will draw something. I'll move an eye over, or I'll and it'll suddenly look like someone else, or it'll remind me of look like some celebrity or something, and I'll just chuckle because internally, or I'll move a forehead down or up, and all of a sudden it took like all of a sudden they look like a child now. Because all those ratios matter so much. All right, looking at the colors around the eye here, it may not be easily seen in the reference on the video, but there's a coolness around the eyes, cooler colors, bluer, more purple colors around the eye and eyelid, and so those regions in the face are really good to pay attention to. They are areas that you can get some nice subtlety to what you're working on, and achieve quite a bit of just because the colors are just a little bit different. There's kind of a purpley blue in and around the eyes. There's a slightly green yellow around the mouth. And those are little things you can exaggerate just a bit in order to achieve, you know, like some good kind of variance in the skin tone. So it doesn't all feel like, oh, I mixed this scale of light skin tone to dark skin tone, and that's all I'm using. In fact, I don't really have an equation. I like to mix the things that I see, and I just kind of trust that each time, like mixing the colors that I see, and sometimes it's that whim. I mean, you might even call it like spirit-led, this moment of like, you know what, I think I see this color here, and I want to put it down, and so I'll just do it, and I find that it kind of keeps the artwork fresh. I think it keeps it from becoming like stale in a way that's like, oh, I'm mixing these skin tones, mix these 3 colors, and then I've got it. I like to keep it fresh. I don't really have an equation, and you can see really there are 9 colors up here, right? And so I'm trying to work between those 9. I've really landed loving these 9 colors as my base palette, and really that's all I ever use are these. And so there's a lot of mixing, but that mixing actually creates more unity within the piece. If you're avoiding, like you're trying to, have like 30 colors out on your palette, you're missing opportunities for unity, because you're gonna have areas that you're like, it's only one tube color. It's like only in one area, whereas a lot of these are getting all mixed together each time I put down a mark. I'd highly recommend sticking with the limited palette. And I know you'll say, well, that's not all that limited. You've got 9 colors, but you should see some of the palettes out there, and I'll just leave it at that. Crazy, 30 some colors or something like that. I don't know, not needed. I don't die on a lot of hills when it comes to, oh, you should do this or do that in your artwork or your painting, but I will die on the hill of limited palette. I think that is one of the most important things you can do in your art, is utilize just a limited palette. All right. And hey, I will also take requests. So if I see your comment and you want me to try something on here, I'll give it a shot. If I think it's a good move, but I'll try it. So see some of these colors here. There's almost a slight yellowy green right underneath here, right underneath the lip. Just turns a little more green, just slightly. These are such subtle colors, but that's kind of been my life, right? Painting and learning how to see. All right, I want to get this edge of this lip just a little bit. See how I just kind of bounce around? I'll see something else and be like, ooh, I want to change that. I don't know, keeps it fresh and exciting. Promise I don't live too distracted of a life, although my wife would probably say, no, it's pretty squirrely at times. Easily distracted. A lot of these Caucasian skin tones here in the light, I mean, this is not like I said, avoid the equation thing that I talked about. This, on the whole, kind of white, yellow ochre, yellow ochre, cad red, cad yellow. I'll hang out a lot here for some of these warmer oranges in the light. And then really when it comes to those subtle blue purples around the eyes, I'm going to start adding in some like cooler colors as needed, but I will you know, it just as I feel it, you know. A lot of feeling in art, right? All right, I liked, so we've got a lot more light on this upper lip, so I wanted to add just a little bit lighter, and that edge almost gets lost up here, so we'll just see if we start doing that and the edge gets lost if I like that or not. Oh, see, a cloud just came over. Sorry, everything changed. Oh, the light changed in here so much. I don't know if you could tell the dimming that occurred. Kind of watch my head. Like I'll mix a little color, I'll look, and then I'll place. So there's kind of a mix, look, plan, mark. You know, you'll see me. I might make a few marks here, but a lot of times I'm just wanting to come in and lay in one mark. Make this a little purpley here into the eyebrow. Again, the reason I'm trying to avoid that is if you continue to blend on the canvas, you lose all the good stuff. So don't blend too much on the canvas and lose your awesome color that you mixed for each one of these. See if I like that. No. And sometimes I'll test the waters. Like, can I use this color elsewhere? Just mixed it. Will it create a little softened edge here? Maybe just a little bit, yeah. Maybe even here, soften our edge just a little bit, yeah. That transition. All right. If you've just joined, thanks for watching. Look, somebody's calling me. Sorry. Can't answer right now. Hope it's not important. It's probably just a scam call, let's be honest. But we'll try to just talk over that, so you know that maybe something will happen, like YouTube says, hey, you played a song that has that is copyrighted, and then you will not. Okay, there we go. Thanks for enduring that. All right, I'm looking here on the chin, and I'm seeing some areas that are just a little warmer. So I mixed up a little more orangey red here. I'm gonna drop some of that in, and you're gonna see that's sort of very different from what's there. But I want each of these little shapes just kind of adds to the whole, and to really make a kind of beautiful little tapestry of mark. But eventually I put enough of these marks down that it really holds together nice. All right, and each of those colors kind of intermixes in your eye, and even though they're like separate marks, they just they run together and they create a lot of structure, and really are quite beautiful. All right, I'm looking at, I've got all this light hitting the inside of the nostril, and I really want to drop that in as I go. So I'm gonna add a little bit that cad yellow, cad red, and white. Achieve this really. Let's see if that was going to be intense enough right here. Little mark. Maybe that's a pretty intense color that I don't know that I quite got. If I don't like it, I'll go a little darker here. And try to use less white. You know, white is, you know, it's okay to use, just got to be careful. Use a lot of it. That also deadens color when you add a lot of white. So white is usually one of the last things. If I can do it any other way, I will. And then finally, when I have no other choice, I'll add some white to the mix. All right. I think I'm going to get the edge of this nostril here a little bit. I think maybe I have it drawn a little big. I'm going to bring that in just a little bit, which means on the other side of it, I'm going to need to get my lighter color. There's a nice highlight right there, that corner of the nose. Let's get some of that in. If it was you who called me, better leave a comment, otherwise, I don't know. All right, yeah, bring that in just a little bit. The thing that the worst thing about live stream, period, is that I would never stay this close to the artwork for this long. Constantly getting up, walking back a good 10 to 15 feet away, looking at it, coming back over and over and over again, wearing, holes in the floor, that level of pacing. And can't quite do that. As you can see, there's cameras and tripods and all this stuff all around. So could I probably get a better setup that wouldn't do this as much? Yeah, probably. But I'm not all that savvy. Those of you who are savvy, let me know. Let me know how I can solve this. Hey Eric, thanks for the message. Appreciate it. And if you have any questions about the choices that I do make, seriously, just throw me a question on the chat here, and I'll try to explain it as best I can. In fact, it's sort of more interesting when you all have good questions, because otherwise I'm just going to talk about things I want to talk about. Might be kind of boring. Or you're like, geez, this guy just doesn't stop talking. But I think if I get too quiet, you may, I don't know, you'll all go away, right? So I gotta keep talking. All right, so I'm adding a little bit more light to the bridge of the nose here. And it's because there are light planes hitting the face. This is a plane, and the light is, hitting those planes, and to make sure that those are all consistent. So I had the nose a little dark, I thought. And so I'm making it lighter because the nose is sort of sticking out there, and it has plenty of blood vessels in it, and it seems slightly see-through. It's going to be a lot warmer, especially in Caucasian skin. You're going to see it's redder because it's just semi-transparent. We're really interesting in that way, this sort of semi-transparency. And so yeah, it's always redder than I think. I'm always surprised, like, wow, that is really red. And Eric, you said relatively new to painting, not at the point where I even know what to ask yet. That's okay. Wherever you're located, Eric, I definitely recommend find a group of people who are also painting and paint with them. I know that it's like, gosh, aren't there all these cool YouTube videos I can watch? And that's great and all, but find those local communities where people are doing it and get involved with them. Because, local artists are just like a wealth of information. I've got an artist here in the building with me. Brian Hinkle's his name. He's been a painter in Wichita for ages. And I value everything he says. Our styles are totally different, but I can tell, to look at his work, it's like, it's mature. Someone who has painted for a long time, who just understands paint. So I'll go to him a lot, see what he's working on. Again, very, very different work, and that's not a problem. One of the folks who'd come around in the atelier, and she was mostly abstract artist. And yet we would talk about the rules of art and how the things that matter are the things that matter. And it would be amazing how we could sit there and solve various problems together, talk about, all right, why is the movement stopped right here? It's very, very good to find your fellows and wherever you might be. Two, like just doing some of that with others, as intimidating as that can be, is one of the great ways to network. We're only as good as our network of community of people who are around us, and this is a tough the art career is really tough to pursue, and you're going to need a lot of people in your corner, and if it weren't for the generosity of many people along the way, I never would have made it. People who saw something and were kind, and in their kindness really encouraged me. So yeah, find your local community. All right, I'm still jumping around. I'm slowly filling in some of the areas that don't have any color in them yet. Sometimes I do it avoidantly. Maybe there's an area that I don't want to quite do yet because I'm like, oh, that's going to be hard or a little intimidating. So just confessing to you all, I'm a bit of an avoider sometimes, don't sweat it. If you're like, well, I feel that way too. Yeah, don't we all? All right, I'm looking very carefully at this corner right now. Realize it's an area it's a bit of a purplish color, and so I'm going to mix a little bit of cerulean blue here with my cad red. This is just like mixing colors, back in kindergarten when you first learned how all that worked. It's really no different. I'm going to start adding some of these other colors in here to fill in areas that I have not yet completed. If I needed to go a little darker, I have a mixed black here is burnt sienna, ultramarine blue. And I'm just going to get a little darker edge here, soften that just a bit. And we kind of live in the world of instant gratification. And this process, just judging from the people coming in and coming out, is sorry. This is literally like watching paint dry. It's that fast and that exciting. Yeah, go back to TikTok, I guess. All right, just again, filling in areas as I go. And let's see. Softening some areas as I see them. And just a little bit of attention. Right. Yeah, this is where it definitely does. The whole process slows down, and where this is going to sit in the chapel. You probably no one will be. I'll take it back. Probably, everyone will still probably remain at the very least probably 6 feet away from this image. So it will. It's unlikely. Sometimes just knowing kind of where things will be within a space is really helpful to determine like how is this going to read. So as you look at me, my little corner self here, set up painting, you kind of see how big the painting is. You kind of get the idea. They'll be about each of the saints is about the life size, maybe just slightly smaller, but really close. So it is one of those things that the way the panels sit, they sit about eye level as well, and so the ground, the floor, everything ends up working out that they kind of exist in that space along with those attending. Really, and it's fun to design it that way to give this sense of presence to the saints during the service. I got one of the biggest compliments I could get was that students were frequenting chapel in the summer once the remodel happened. Very, very, couldn't ask for more. All right, so a thing I noticed is a drawing thing. So every, like I was saying before, if you haven't watched my silly video of using a VR headset to draw this thing on here, and by draw it really means trace, you should check that out and see that process, which is really interesting. It's an interesting bit of tech, but it's never going to be perfect. And as I go, I'm going to constantly see little things I need to change. Like for instance, just this line. I need to bring it in just a tad, and it's just a little darker, and it comes in a little farther. Those are really small, subtle changes that no one, maybe but me, will notice. But I can't help it. It's what I do day in and day out, is just constantly look and compare and adjust and address and slowly get there. All right, so a little small drawing decision, small drawing adjustment. And by drawing, you think, well, what does that have to do with painting? But drawing just means anything that you need to do to make it look like the thing. If I'm moving a line from just a little bit over, then yeah, that's a drawing decision, even though I'm using painting. Drawing is kind of like think about it as like a what's going on, Rodney? Good to see ya. Think about kind of how the drawing is like that foundation that sort of sits underneath what you're working on. So it's really exciting. Rodney, everyone should have a friend like Rodney. Rodney's a good friend, great painter. He is studying right now, great guy. We hang out, Rodney and I. We grab dinner together. We paint together. Good times. Everyone should have a friend like Rodney. That's right, Rodney. I am going to actually do some painting. I'm going to do some more live streams here for a bit. I know, it's been a long time. All right, making some subtle choices here. And I'm also going to ask Rodney a question since we're all here. Rodney, how are classes going? Where you're from? You don't have to tell the world where that is. But interested to hear you how your studies are going in the other place. All right, there are a lot of opportunities here and there. Like you'll see, I'll grab a little bit of alizarin crimson here on the end, and I'll just drop that right in for that eyelid. Sometimes you'll be tempted to put. You'll see, oh, I see a line there, and you can put it there. But why not make it a color? And since I know we're talking about all these areas of the face that are slightly see-through. Really kind of soft, and use a color, use some of your, you can hide it in these areas, some really intense color, and it's okay, and it still looks good, and you're not, if I use this cad red in here a little bit, it's okay, even though that color is sort of off the charts as to very, very little areas would really ever require that. Yep. If you've just joined, thanks for watching. And my goal is to. I mean, you're looking at it. This is the start of it. You kind of see this whole thing in the bottom right of your video feed. I'm going to try to stream a lot of the creation of this. There'll be some areas that are really boring though. So just bear that in mind, that I might not stream when I'm painting some background, but certainly hands, heads, other interesting parts, I'll try to include. All right, I'm getting tired of using this small brush. I need to make some moves. Getting sick of it. All right, let's see. A little bit of Chelsea Classical Studio Lavender Spikel medium. I'm using the lean medium right now. Just a little bit more paint movement, creating just a little bit more viscosity. Using medium for much more viscosity. All right, I'm gonna put in some marks here. See some areas. See, I just keep it fresh. So, you know, I was like, I'm tired of all these little things. So I want to make some bigger, more exciting moves. Hanging out, making a lot of these oranges into the day. All right, we're all, if you're painting skin tones, doesn't matter who you are, everybody in the world, low chroma orange. And orange, we're all orange. Just orange. Light orange, dark orange, we're all orange. Will there be a progress comparison of this at the start of the live stream versus the end? Progress comparison. Would that require editing later? I don't know. I'm not going to do any later editing if it would require that. So, but what I hope to do is I'd like to keep this Mr. Gummy Greg. I'd love to keep this going, so like you'll be able to go to the different videos, and like, so maybe when I'm posted way up there painting St. Francis of Assisi, you might be able to see that, but then this should be done down here, right? So it kind of as I move out of the area, hopefully the overall progress will be displayed in this right hand corner. It may not be every day that I do this, but I'm going to try to do it some days when I can kind of set it up easily. Mario, yes, your last YouTube video was straight out of a sci-fi movie. I know it was. I was like amazed at how this thing worked. It was pretty cool. So worth checking out. I think, you know, if you're a mural artist or you're working on some bigger scale images like this, I think it's a cool bit of tech. But like I said in the video, it won't solve drawing problems, so it's not going to help you, solve the things that only drawing will do when you go to the studio, you find a live model, you start drawing from live. All those things have to happen because you'll need that even with like the drawing aid help. So I'm wanting to soften this shape here. You notice I put down a color that was too light. So I'm going to come in here. I'm just slowly kind of darkening it because I see just a little bit of softer light kind of coming to the side of her face here. And I want to, I really want to capture that subtlety going around here. And so I will try to get that done here. Let's see. Rodney, sorry, I missed your comment. Good. I'm learning a lot about different edges to develop form and shape. Yes, that's good stuff. Edges. That's like the edges are the mysticism of painting, where you make the magic happen. I almost always lean toward a softer edge when I can. But there are those areas where if you want to move the eye there, just like our eyes focus on sharper edge, like sharper points, the things in the foreground are sharper, you can use that to your advantage in painting to create some very cool effects. So that's cool. I'm glad you're learning that, Rodney. You will continue throughout all of your painting career to toy with all that. All right, Mario says, the old masters would have killed for a device like this. Yeah, that would have been amazing. Hard to imagine what those guys could have done. But that's kind of the argument of the video, was that, I mean, it was a fight at the time for like artistic supremacy. These guys were figuring out ways to, like, how can I get a leg up on drawing? What are ways that I can do things better than the next guy, so that I'm the guy that gets invited to do this project or do this painting, or so that I can be the one making the best thing. Like, those guys, it was, you really wanted to figure out ways to do it. So in some ways, like, they were using the tools they had at hand, and I was like, well, I mean, why not use the tools I have at hand? Again, this doesn't replace drawing and studying and learning how to draw. All those things are going to be necessary, but you really will. It's a helpful tool. I think for certain applications, really helpful. Shirley, I'm always impressed to see artists painting wet into wet. Beautiful, thanks. Unfortunately, I started yesterday, and this is a little bit dry, so I'm kind of painting wet into dry, into tacky, into probably no one should be doing this, but here I am, nonetheless. All right. Let's see here. Gonna get a little bit of kind of softer, like soften that edge just a little bit. So that transition is just a little softer, and yeah, wanting to make this very nice. All right, let's see. Where should I work next? Where should I go? I just look around until something bugs me. Hey, if you just joined, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. My goal is to paint this painting on and off in the live stream. So that's why I provided the little kind of progress window down here. I've just got it started. This is the first bit of painting. I started yesterday, and I thought I would just kick in the live stream here and get things rolling. So definitely, if you haven't before, subscribe, do the like thing, I don't know, do they still have a bell? I don't even know. That's how out of touch I am. But yeah, if you want to just know when I go live, which I hope will be a couple times a week, as long as I have something interesting to paint, because believe me, no one's gonna want to watch me paint the background. Probably gonna not do those days. So adding just a little more here. So hang around. That's what I'm saying. Hang around, and love to have you. Love to have any questions, so please ask questions. If you want to know what on earth this guy's doing, why am I doing it, happy to answer those. All right, I like this. I kind of saw this really strong kind of orangey pink here, so I'm adding just a little bit more into that corner. I don't know. That's all I ever do. See something, it's like, look at that color. I got to get that in there. And just slowly work it that way, and make the adjustments that I want to make. Didn't like that as much. Wanted it to be a little more yellowy. Gonna have to get some better tripod equipment. Kind of got a weird setup that it is throwing my rhythm off just a little bit. So having to kind of swing around here to make my mark. Awkward live stream. Let's see. Didn't like that move a little bit. And I'm using relatively little medium. Mostly painting, just using just paint, really. At this point, Early on, you know, I'll use a lot of medium to block in a lot of these shapes, but then I'll get to the point where where really I'm kind of making a mark into other marks, surely, like you were kind of talking about, just making a mark right into the areas that are already wet. Using a very, you know, you can kind of, it's crazy to think, but it's something that is about, let me get my brush where you can see it. I will make very shallow marks, so I'm not really using this as much as something kind of like this, kind of almost raking the top, gathering some of the paint that's there, and pulling it along with what I currently have on the brush. These are very small movements, and but I do think that it helps. A little darker here. Don't want to give her too dark under the eyes, but let me capture some of that. Let's see. What? All right. Those of you who are watching, what are you working on? What are you making at home or at your studio? What are you working on? Tell me a story. Just a little more yellow here. Adding some yellow. And I'm exaggerating. The color here is exaggerated, but I think that's where painting gets interesting. You know, exaggeration actually creates visual interest. You know, we want to part what we see, part what we know, part what we want to see. That's the magic formula for great painting, and you got to have a little bit of that is just extra, what you're seeing. And what you want to see, like what you know, artistically, what do you want to make happen in the work? You know, for the longest time, I didn't think that way. So, BV, you missed life drawing. Do you come to our life drawing and I just don't know your name? If so, awesome. I could guess maybe if I. Who BV might be, but life drawing is where it is. So much fun. One of the best things you can do for yourself if you're making representational artwork is what I want to say. If that's what you're doing, find your local atelier, your local art center, whatever, and draw from the live model. You won't regret it. Oh, good, B. Awesome, good. Well, I'm sorry you've had COVID. That sucks. I'm sorry. It has been going around though. There's been kind of a strain that's just hit everybody so much. So, sorry. So you're home resting up right now, maybe. Or you're at work watching, which bravo, you're getting it done, and also give me another view. Thank you. That's right. You know, turn me on like 5 other devices if you want. Just kidding. Don't do that. All right. You know, I just see this really warm. The bridge of the nose. You know, there is, especially in Caucasian skin, you can kind of watch this kind of warm orangey go across the bridge of the nose and the upper kind of cheeks and cheekbones and near the zygomatic arch. There is just this reddish warmth here, and it is I want to emphasize that and almost exaggerate that some. So, you know, I keep adding a little more red to my brush here, just barely pulling from my CAD red, just a little bit. Yeah, a little redder across the ridge. B, I'm glad you are over it. and feeling better. So love to see you again. I've been the one who's been missing. I had an exhibition last week. The week before that, I was meeting with a client over another artwork, and so I've been the one that's been gone too. So I've been out of. You didn't have to tell me. I was. I would have just thought you were there. But we'll be glad to have you back. I'll be glad to be back this week. Shirley says, I hear you. I more so mean not starting with the grisaille. Yes, I find it way easier. So yeah, super impressive when I see an artist just go with it with color and nail the values. Yeah, good. Shirley, that's a good point. I think there's reasons to start with a grisaille and an underpainting. And I do sometimes. One of the great things about painting is you have this entire history of painting, and people have painted a million different ways and used oil paint in all sorts of crazy ways. And each one from someone like Rembrandt or Vermeer or Caravaggio, they were painting a certain way. And then you have Monet, and he was painting a certain way, but they're all using oils, and yet each is so magnificent in its own way. And so there's reasons sometimes that I do use. I'll start off with just a grisaille because maybe I really want to focus and get my values straight. I was like, and I don't want to think about color, and I just want to focus on value. I will start that way sometimes. So, Larry, what's happening? Working on a watercolor painting of a drawing from life from a couple weeks ago. Yes, Raven was our model, and I fell in love with her. Like, yes, she was awesome model. I agree. Larry's also a member here at the Atelier, and a very sweet lady. Thank you, Larry, for being a part and hanging out with us. Love it. She was a great model. That was a nice session. So Raven, if you're out there, we appreciate you. All right, I'm slowly adding. The model you can see has red hair. And I'm adding some yellows and some oranges into the eyebrows, just as I don't know, kind of some visual interest, lightening the eyebrows just a little bit, and creating a few pockets of color in there. Because once we kind of get to the hair, I think that'll make more sense, and it'll feel whole. But yeah, trying to leave it in this looser, more dynamic state, right? I mean, there's, I still, even though this is going in a chapel, I still want the brushwork to give life to the saints here. And, that I hope, to my very spirit, I really hope that there is life in these images that really help people and inspire those who attend services. And so I want each mark to do that. So it's exciting. All right, these are some really hard edges here, right? I haven't even kind of dealt with this, softened this whole side over here. So I need to get to that. I need to add some color. So what I'm doing, rather than, because part of it is already dry and tacky from some of yesterday's work, I'm gonna have to just mix a color and kind of put that in between. And so that is what the ultimate goal. So I'm kind of mixing some colors for the edge. Wanted to be a little purpley. Let's see. Add some of the cooler Viridian, some of the alizarin crimson, And this is just a guess, right? So I mix this, I'm gonna guess, I'm gonna put it down, see if I like it. I don't know if I like it yet. Let's see if I put it over here, if I like it. Okay. I don't know, maybe. B, good question. What saints will you be doing? That's going to give away the surprise of the months. Just kidding. I don't mind. So this is Saint Dymphna, as I say below. She's a patron saint of mental health, and then Saint Francis of Assisi, Carlo Acutis, who is newly canonized, literally like 12 days ago. And then Saint Josephine Bakita. So as we get through and work and paint all those folks, all those saints, it'd be fun to kind of watch it all come together. Hope it's inspiring. So that's the joy of all this, is just getting to inspire and encourage everyone who enters the chapel. Right. You can kind of see some of the color, some of these are really evident, but I don't mind some of these really hard edges at times, as long as the overall effect, when you step back, creates some softness and some just interesting variance that makes the painting have life. All right, this is kind of a moment of pause, stepping back and kind of thinking about where I want to move next. What I really should do is need to finish this lip transition here. I haven't really broached that yet. These are all still bigger marks in here. And then teeth. Oh my. We'll see if I do teeth. Teeth in painting, they're always weird. They're just kind of tough to do and to have it turn out okay. You want to mix the values and the colors that you see, but oftentimes it can kind of just look strange. It's definitely less is more. So you want to do a little describing and teeth as possible. You don't want to make every tooth. If you can kind of hint at, it, that's one of the best ways to go about it. It's tough to do well. I've included a few teeth and things from now and then, but for the most part, I try to avoid it because it rarely goes well. Look through art history and look through the work. Teeth are strange. I tell you what, though, some people can do them really well. There's a painter who does some portraits, and all of a sudden I'm doubting the name, so I'm not going to say it. But I consider modern day master painter. Last name of Daly, and just blanking all of a sudden his first name. But he does a really good job, and he can do teeth. I'm impressed. I run away from teeth. Try to avoid it. But as you can see, we're seeing just a little bit there. So maybe that'll be fun. We'll do that together. I'll dive into that and see what happens. All right. First, let's see what we can do. All right, I need just a little bit of medium and mix my color here on the bottom side. A little bit of alizarin crimson, and I don't want to use just alizarin. Maybe just a tad burnt sienna, a little bit of ultramarine. Come back to our alizarin. I'm going to just fill in this space. We're starting to get into some tighter areas. So I'm going to fill in this space here. And Yeah, there we go. That's looking all right. Okay with that. Not mad about it. And let's see. So now, really, the value that I have for the teeth right now is not far off from what should be there. So it needs to go a little darker. The color is more or less kind of a gray. It has some warmth to it, so we're gonna lean into kind of a yellowy gray. Get a brush going here. Drop my brush, get another brush. It's cool, I've got a lot here. We're good. All right. So one of the things I like to mix is a black. So ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, these two. And it creates a nice dark mixed black that you can utilize for much of whatever you're working on. And if I do that, I can use that just about anywhere. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that. So I'm going to just start from a gray. I want to add a little yellow ochre to that. I want it to be yellowy. And I'm going to come in there and I'm going to feel that out right there. This may be the value in the shadow, maybe. And we're just going to feel it out. Got to put it in there. See if I like it. I think it's a little dark. Add just a little white, not much. And you're going to see that the color is not all that far off from what was already there. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. I've given a little more shape to her lip, and you can see like immediately, I already don't like it. There's something there, and we can try to add a little bit. But as you can see, it's not something that will lighten this just a tad. We don't want to describe it too much. Just want to kind of come in a little bit. And we're getting a little bit of a glint of light. And I can try to put that in, but this will be something that I end up working on a lot. I'll come back and forth and decide on it. And so we'll just add a little bit of a kind of a glint here and see what happens. See, I don't really like it. I don't care for how it ends up looking. It was sort of better without it. So a lot of times, if I put these in, I will. I might just decide to kind of go of a warmer dark rather than teeth. Sometimes it just depends on how I feel about it. Right now I'm super nonplussed. I don't really like it at all. But I'll play with it a little more. I think it could probably be a little warmer. I think that's part of my problem is it just made it a little too gray-y green. I can add a little more burnt sienna in here and warm that up some. Hard to do well. Very hard. Keep going here. Because I can't really see a whole lot of what's going on there. Let's see. I think it'll turn out okay in the end. That's kind of how I always feel. Like, well, we'll solve that at some point. Let's see if by adding just a little bit of that glint on the tooth, I'm going to add a little white, a little cad yellow, and see if we kind of like that a little more, get a little bit of something down here. It looks like she has a grill. That's the thing with kind of doing this. It's like it is a subtle process, a lot of pushing back and forth, and then maybe at some point I'll actually get to a place that I'm like, I like it. But it doesn't. It takes a long time. Let's see. I'm gonna keep toying with it some. A little burnt sienna. kind of warm that up some. And maybe slowly getting there. I don't know. It might be good enough for now, and that's another decision I'll make a lot of times. I'm like, okay, I added some visual information in there. It doesn't have to be ultimately what I keep in there, but that's what it is for now. All right. It needed something because it was one of the places that was just still very bare. If I look carefully, I notice that I'm catching a little more light on the top of the lip here, and I want to get that. I really want that top of the lip, bottom lip, to be lit from above. So I'm going to add a little bit on there. I want to make it a little redder. Let's see. We'll add a little more cad red. And let's see. Yep, I think redder still. A little bit more yellow. It was getting too pink. It needed some yellow and to make it a tad more orange. So. And then in some respects, I feel like I see a darker, and this is all like kind of looking and like, I sense just a darker top edge to the lip here. Maybe because it's slightly in the shadow. So I'm gonna drop that in and see if, again, all these things slowly add up to improve the overall product. I think I like that. A little redder. Let's get some more cad red. Maybe just a little bit of yellow in here too. This just looks much more red. I think still more red. Yeah, that's getting close now. And so you can see just by that process alone, I'll put something down. I end up not liking it for one reason or another. Maybe I don't feel like it quite works. All right, that's okay. Come in, make the change, shift it, until it's like, oh, okay, that's working now. I'm seeing some of the same color here. I'm gonna just kind of buff a little bit of that in, just a little bit. It's probably a little excessive right now, but that's all right. Beauty of oil painting is, even if this dries, I will oil it out and I'll work right back on top of a nice wet oil slick, and work right back in. Now, the color itself will be dry underneath, but I can begin working right back into it. Oil painting, and a lot of people say, oh, so hard, but I think it's really forgiving, and there's a lot you can do. Just seeing some other areas that I think this color sort of exists in, so I want to put that in. Bracing my, you see I use my pinky a lot if I'm doing a very small area, and I'll use my pinky to brace. Other folks would use a maul stick to kind of brace. Also, you can see, it's probably hard to, you can see in the bottom right, I have a chair that has some like elbow rests. So I actually will lean in, kind of rest my elbow, and maybe hold my arm, and you can't quite see that. I'll hold my arm steady as well, and then I'll have a few points of stability to help get those spaces in. All right, let's see. Just getting some things done, bouncing around, finding a few things. Let's see, we need to finish up the lip here. Man, I'm getting so many areas that are just like not handled yet. So that's the other thing about my approach, which is a little like bouncing around. I'll just find an area and I'm like, oh, I don't even have any paint there yet. And that's all right. I think I'll share later today, I think, on Instagram, maybe, the first few marks of building this up. Just a heads up, maybe try to throw that video on later. Okay. All right, Shirley says, I'm practicing improving portrait painting. I'm also working on biblical paintings. Those are my favorite. You might have guessed I used oils. I learned so much from other artists. Yes, it does really help to kind of see others' work. And isn't the human form so interesting? So Mario, yes, the elbow is a huge help, absolutely. Big back saver, shoulder saver. I may have a few vertebrae that are out of line from ages of painting and just holding up my right arm. A few years ago, I'm in my mid-40s now, a few years ago I was like, you know what? I need to be smarter and have a few more just things to help me. If I'm gonna see this through to the end, I gotta get some equipment to help with this body. All right, I want to get just again. I'm gonna switch it up. I get tired of the little small brushes, and I drop those. Get rid of those. Get out a bigger brush because I wanna do some larger areas. It's kind of like stepping back. So that's the one thing that is really unfortunate about streaming is like I can't get up. As you can see, if I were to get up and back straight up, I would ram into all this camera equipment and tripods. But like I like, so you see me like lean back a lot. I'll kind of lean back. Even just leaning back helps me get a quick look at it that's fresh. Seeing like are the colors reading together. Are they working? Is there anything weird with the drawing? I mean, that's the other thing too. Stepping back really helps. It's like something off on the drawing. And I think I see a little, something may have given a little more jaw over here than is really in the image. And so those are things that like I don't see until I kind of get back. So I think I'll probably bring that in just a little bit with the mark. Maybe not right now, but it's in my mental to-do list right now. I do like standing when I can, and so some of these areas will be only standing because they'll be just right, to kind of stand and get at. We'll have to figure out how the cameras are going to work for that. Figure it out, promise. So yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching and like just hanging out with me. That's great. Love it. And makes me think, okay, yeah, I'll do this again. I'm easily dissuaded, right? No one's interested in this. Why am I even doing it? That sort of thing. So I'm glad that a few of us are hanging around. Thanks. I want to add just a little bit of the edge of the forehead here, where the hairlines start to go. As I slowly work toward some of these areas, I will. They're all decisions of like, all right, I want this to change a little bit. Here's how I'm going to change it. And so I'd like to add. I think I'm going to try to prep this brush. I just want to add. I'm going to show you kind of what I mean by like carving in just a little bit here. Take away a little bit of that jaw on that side. And, you know, Mario, since we were talking about the other video, using the VR headset to draw this, I mean, that could have been a thing that was just slightly off. And now that I see it, I've been painting it, you know, I'm constantly assessing that and saying, okay, this needs to change. So I'm going to come in here just a little bit, and I'm going to try to do it, you know, in one-ish strokes. So just kind of carving that out just a little bit less, just a little more. And I already like it better. I'm happy with that move. Again, just one quick carve into that shape to just get a little bit more accuracy. A little less strong of a jaw, mandible there. Yep, I like it. All right, good move. Sometimes I don't make good moves. That was a good one. Sometimes I make moves that I regret. Like, oh, why did I do that? It was fine. Oh, why did I think I could improve it? It's gamble. That's why we paint. Love doing some crazy things. All right, I'm just seeing a few marks I want to make and clean up. Again, bouncing around, seeing some of the things that are they're just wrong. There's plenty of things that are just wrong that I'm slowly correcting. You know, you might have to go all the way back to the beginning of the video and you'll probably say, I don't see anything different. What on earth did he spend 2 hours doing? You might say that, and it's okay if you do. No, he's just a little crazy. He just keeps on working when he could have stopped hours ago. All right, I want to get so again, made just another move where I want to start to define the eye a little more, just a little more. Now, the eyes are farther back in the head than the nose. And you actually want to keep the eyes really soft. Softer edges, you know, nothing too hard and crazy around the eyes is better, because if you're going to keep things a little harder, edged and sharp, you know, let it be the nose and the mouth and maybe the eyebrows, but let the eyes be a little softer so that they unfocus, if you will, and sit a little farther back. So this is definitely something you don't want to get too tight on, and you want to keep the edges really light. I'm feeling not terribly confident, so I'm going to go with a smaller brush right now. So I'm going to try to mix this white of the eye on this side, which is really, you know, quite a, I don't know, it's kind of a purple. I'm going to mix color up over here and just try it out. Let's see how, a little more blue, a little more cerulean. All right, let's feel that out. See if we like that. Let me get a little medium on the brush. So just get a little more flow. It's probably going to be too dark. Yep, too dark. Can do right away. Add a little white. Let's see if we like that now. Yep, I think that's good. That's a good value. So just bring that in a little bit. Now I'm gonna do a little bit of drop that side there slowly. You know, unfortunately, like I said, what's there was dry from yesterday, so I'm gonna have to kind of work back in, really soften that edge, very, very soft. You know, the eye, the white of the eye there is its own, you know, it's its own little ping pong ball inside of the skull, and it is also a sphere that catches light on one side and slowly goes to a shadow side, and that's all we're trying to do is pay attention to that. Soften this edge here next to the eyelid, and really get a nice soft look. I don't know that I'm going to try to make her eyes much lighter than this, like the iris. By that, I'm going to try to kind of keep it about the way they are. They are light. I do think that if I go much lighter, and this is a personal choice, I think I will lose I'll lose some of the contrast there, and one of those stronger contrasts around the iris and eyeball and where she's looking. So the nice thing about where this sits in the chapel is there's another one of these panels off to the right, and then we have the crucifix and the altar and everything centralized. And so you'll notice as we go through these for the next few that you'll see there's a lot of movement in that direction toward the right, and that's intentional. And also the light is coming from the right, from the crucifix and from the altar. Again, also all intentional and important. All right, working on that eye. I think I made it a little bigger. No, I'll see. So I quickly see a little bit of a drawing thing. I've got. I think I've just made the eye edge a little farther over here. It doesn't need to be that far. Now, anytime you address something going on with the eye, you run a risk, because right now I think that's the corner, so the eye looks like it's looking this way. So if I start to bring this in, which is what I'm about to do, it can change things up. But it didn't so bad. That was not so bad. Okay. Kind of worried I would sometimes it can make them look totally different direction once you start adjusting the edges like that. Okay. I have avoided thus far putting the glint in the eye. It's one of those it was one of those details I like to save to almost the end. So maybe we'll do it at the end of the stream. Which is we've got another about 40 minutes or so, and then I've got to go. But yeah, we'll add that right before the end. So stick around and watch her just kind of come to life right at the end. Hoping to kind of get this wrapped up today, but I don't know that I will. It still needs a lot of work. I always assume I'm going to get more done than I do. I just oh yeah, I should be able to tidy that up and it'll be done. No, it takes longer. Do that with a lot of things. I'll be late to somewhere. Oh, it'll only take me 10 minutes to get there. No, it does take 10 minutes of driving, but you have to get in your car, get out of your car, park, all these other things. And now it was 15 or 10 or 20, and I'm 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late. All right. Thinking. Add a little bit of an edge here. Just get a little more all around the eye. Again, I want this really soft, even into the white, the sclera of the eye. I want those all very soft, so that it really sits back in the face, all intentional. There's a little bit of shadow cast by the eyelid onto the iris, and it's a small little dark line up there. Those are little details sometimes I think are just nice to add. They're really make things pop. Also, it's a chance that to have a darker value in an area that really is very light. So I'm going to just add a little bit of that here and there. Then another decision to make is exactly how wide. I mean, she's looking into light, and so the irises are kind of constricted. And so it's how small do I make the pupil, and how does that work? So we're going to add a little bit in there, and I'm just going to feel it out. So start putting a little bit in, see what happens. Made the pupil bigger than the reference, because otherwise I think it's one of the things just looks a little unnatural too when not done so. A little bit bigger of a pupil, and now there's we got a nice deep dark. I'm using my mixed black, but trying to keep that edge. I don't want a really hard edge in there. Still want to keep it fairly soft even around there. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'll start to kind of add that in. One eye is never a problem. It's easy to do one eye. 2 eyes, there's your challenge. Because pupil diameter, like which way are we looking? all that stuff really starts to add up and create like, oh, well, that's just a little too different for it to feel correct. Yeah, I will sit around and battle an eye. I'll be moving the sclera back and forth. I'll be moving the iris back and forth. It's and until it's like, okay, I think that's good. This is another one of those moments where stepping back really helps. If you have the opportunity to kind of step back and look at the work from afar, that will help tremendously in this process. So we've really strengthened. We've added that dark because I hadn't really put that in yet, but it's also intentional. I try as best I can and recommend anything you do to work on it as a whole, as best you can. So if you're, don't get too detailed in one area. And I know what you're saying. It's like, Vince, you're detailed in the space. There's no other detail over here. That's right. Okay, I'm a professional. Don't try this at home. But I want to, like the area, I kind of have to laser in on an area, work it out. But even within that, I want to kind of all work it up in the same speed. Keep it all done, kind of evenly rendered. So I can already see like kind of weirdness in the eye here. Told you, 2 eyes are hard. 1 eye is easy. So adjust little shapes here, and again, I'm using my drawing skills, but also kind of looking at the drawing, but then also kind of saying, well, what also just looks more correct? That's another question that you can always ask yourself when you're working on a painting. It's like, oh, but my reference shows this. I need to paint that because that's what the reference has. No, you don't. You need to. Kind of, that's where the knowledge piece comes in. So when I say good art is part what you see, part what you know, part what you want to see, that means that there are times that it's like the reference is the wrong decision, and making it work in the painting is the right decision. So yeah, don't just blindly do what the reference shows, but ask yourself, art-wise, this is a piece of art, so how does it need to be done so that it's successful? All right, so I'm going to start filling in a little more of the sclera here, being a little more intentional about the shape. Just a little bit. I don't want to go too far. And again, keeping those edges nice and soft, eyelid, whites of the eye, all of that, very soft. So that it fades back into the face just a little bit. And we can add a little bit of kind of darkened detail here, because I'm seeing a nice kind of red line, here right at this edge. Again, going easy, taking it easy. It feels a little outlined now, so I'll need to come back in and adjust that some more. But we've added more detail to the eye now. I think on both sides, I needed to just add a little more light to the sclera that's in the light. So I'm going to just add a little more light on that side, just a bit. Don't want to go too far. Just a little bit. You know what I don't have within my grasp is a hand mirror. Gosh, I haven't even used my hand mirror once. Firm believer in a hand mirror. So when you paint or draw, whatever you're doing, like have a hand mirror just to kind of hold up behind you like this, glance into the mirror, and then back to the work. It gives a fresh perspective. Oh, it's like indispensable tool. And when I get busy with all of this, I forget the things that really help me be successful. All right, I just saw a shape there that really needed blocked in. Bigger shape, bigger brush. And we'll keep going here. Right. Very pink in here. I'm still getting some of that ground layer. That's what this, if you just, probably the same 9 folks or the same people that have been here forever, so you've probably heard me say this already, but this color here is just a wash, a ground layer wash, so that I'm not working directly on white. And so, yeah, it's helpful, but I still need to paint over even those bits, even though like it will be really nice to it'd be much nicer to have that color underneath rather than direct white. Seeing a little bit of just this eyelid here catching some light. I'm going to fill it in, these small details. You're gonna what's gonna come next, right? I'm gonna get tired of using these small brushes and I'll have to get a bigger brush and start another area, and that's coming, right? Because that's me. All right, I'm seeing just a little bit more light on this side of the sclera, and I want to get that in place just a tad. It's looking a little dark. And try to soften this edge just some. Yeah, if you don't know the story of Saint Dymphna, highly recommend. Just look her up, and it is a very sad story. Because of just associations largely with struggles with her father, she's the patron saint of mental health, and so encourage you to just kind of take a look at her life and learn more. But her story is such that it's kind of inspiring to the kids. So she made the cut. It's really a great process of like saint selection for this these series of paintings. the students get to select. It's really exciting. All right, that big shape was all by itself down there. It's starting to bug me a little bit. So here we go. Getting into it. Just a little bit of light here. And you notice all, I guess that's okay. Kind of like it, maybe. change the structure of the eye some, but I didn't like that. There we go, that's better. Let's see. Subtle movements. We're slowly getting there. So yeah, feel free to ask a question if you've got one, and do my best to answer. Painting or otherwise, whatever. I want to really start softening. I'm looking at this transition from the chin as it goes into the soft side there. Slowly starting to add and softening that. Rodney, just curious, how long do you think that the whole panel will take? Worst case scenario, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year? No, Rodney, we are going to go a lot faster than that. So, like I said. Faces, hands, these sort of things take a long time. But backgrounds and other bits of area, bits of the painting will go much faster. And so no, I'm gonna come in on some Saturdays. I'm gonna fill in a few. I'm gonna try to get it done in 2.5 months, maybe. So yeah, I'm gonna. It seems impossible now. You're doing the math on like how much I accomplished today, but it won't go this slow as I kind of fill in bigger areas. I like to start with faces and hands. I like just because I think those are the most important parts of the painting, and I really like to establish those important parts first. Because I think they kind of set the tone, and because we're going to focus on the faces and the hands, like that. Once I've put those in, I then can say, okay, how does the rest of the supporting cast, like I've got everything else is going to be supporting cast, the hands, faces. How much does everything else need to be rendered? So just starting with the most important parts. The Wise Jack, apologies if you've already mentioned it, but how did you prime this panel? So this panel, I'll let you know, I didn't have to prime it at all. It's and actually it's hard to tell from the header, but this is aluminum composite material. It's a honeycombed aluminum that has been primed with a lead oil ground. So it's been given a lead oil ground, and I've just put a wash of raw umber and some cerulean. Actually, no, this was just raw umber. Raw umber that I kind of rubbed in until I had this kind of even color to begin working on. But great question. I didn't mention that, so it's a good question. Yeah, and the panel was made by Artifex. Art, so Artefex. Love their panels, and a shout out to them. Great materials, and really perfect because so this is very rigid. This panel is just standing because it's aluminum. So when it is installed, there's no need to like adhere it. We just stand it in its we stand it inside of the niche that was made for it, and then just keep it in place with a little bit of quarter round. And that quarter round is just installed, and the painting just kind of sits in their stands because it's rigid. And that way too, you know, I try to think long term, right? I mean, I don't know, I have another 40 years on this earth, maybe. But you know, these panels and these artworks will outlast me, and you know, maybe someday they're moved elsewhere, or maybe they're moved to another church, or maybe this space is torn down for something else, so that you can actually remove these and continue to use them for centuries to come. And that whole idea is very exciting to think about. Like, okay, hopefully this blesses people for a long time. Yeah, I love these panels, really do. Quality is great. Just can't beat it. If only the business was closer. That's the thing that's that's the thing that's sad. I will, because then we have to ship big panels like this from California to Kansas. That's, as you can imagine, it's quite the shipping cost. Rodney, I will not be coming your way in October. I'm sorry. But I meant to. I really did. And I don't know, the deadline got away from me or something. Frankly, it's probably for the best. You know, some of those things I just attribute to God really helping me out, because otherwise I would have felt way too overwhelmed. And really too much on my plate. So I'm not sure how I missed the deadline, but I did. And I should probably see and maybe talk to Wendy and say, hey, if like, you know, if you get a last minute cancellation, even though I'm far away, I might be able to come. Should probably do that. Even though I think I would go crazy. Yeah, it's just a little too much right now. Like I said, I'm trying to finish this. Trying to be relatively. I don't want this to drag on too much longer. Simply because I don't know. I like to finish things in good time. If I say I'm going to do it, try to do it. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Darker values in here on this side. I don't know, I just felt like I needed a little more here to help me see. Okay. It's coming along well. 3:30 Central Time. What else am I going to do here? Yeah. Look at all this that's undone. I've got enough on my hands. It's true. But hopefully you see it come together faster than you could possibly imagine. Like I said, the boring parts I won't stream, and I'll just try to get those done in a timely manner. The exciting parts I'll stream. At least I'll do my best too. I'm also giving a still life painting class, a 6-week course here at the Atelier. I think there are just a couple spots left for that. Yeah, 6 weeks. I know that cuts out anyone who's not local. But yeah. So I've also been prepping for that some. All right, let's see, I saw a shape that I liked. See, there's just the eyelid came up a little higher. Let's see if that feels okay. Yeah, I think it does. So, all right. Louisa, hello. Thanks for the comment. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Great to have you. Darken this edge a little bit. Paint's getting really tacky now. It is all I can do. Not really. Need to be a little braver. Make some marks. But I need to get on it here. Get some of this done. That's looking a little too heavy down there. Still a little too much draw. You know, I brought that edge in a little bit, drew that, kind of came back in there. I need to, let's see. We'll get at this dark, I got a little bit darker brush here, and I'm gonna see if I can just bring that edge in a little bit. I have there's a little green there, and I kind of like it. You're like, what? That's not what's there. I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can work with it. That's more just visual interest. Add a little. Shadow there, some strength. Same. I'm gonna do the same over here. Cut in just a little bit there. Just like a little big. It's amazing how it can still just look that way. I mean, I'll make an adjustment, and I'm like, man, I really think it needs to come in even more. So I'm gonna do it just a little more here, as that edge is sort of turning away from us. Soften that out just a little bit to really send it back. You know, Rod need to talk about those edges, and we use those soft edges because we really want that to travel back, and then we can use some of our more crisp edges here to really move the eye into the facial features here. That edge of the face as it goes back into the kind of dark area back here, you know, with the nice and soft as it goes back there. All right. Let's see. Okay. Saw something I wanted to do, and then I just forgot what it was. What did I want to do? I don't know. Oh yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay. Getting lost in my own painting. All right. Yeah, just this shape over here. I wanted to add something, kind of cover that edge up. Yeah. So see, I put that down, it got dark. It just happens, you know. I think, oh, I'm gonna put this here, and I just miscalculate. And miscalculate, I'll just come in and lighten it up. That's not what I wanted to do either. So see, I make mistakes all the time. But the nice thing is oil is very forgiving, and I can then work right back into it. So I'm gonna make a bit of an edge there. A little redder. I'm not getting the red there that I want. Let's see if we can put a little bit of alizarin crimson in there. Yeah, that's all right. still really hard edge there. So I just mixed a color. I can like set that color down here, say, all right, what I want to do is I want to find the color in between this and my shadow there. I want it to be redder and kind of purple. So we'll grab some Cad Red, grab a little bit of cerulean. Now that's still looking a little too dark, so we're gonna need to add a little white, just a little bit now, don't get too carried away. Some yellow ochre for good measure, and now we probably have a color that's in between, but I like it to read just a little redder, so I will grab some burnt sienna and just a little bit right there. So hopefully this should be about the value in the color. If I put this down here and see if we get it right. Yeah, that was not bad. It could have been worse. Sometimes it's worse. Again, these soft edges. So because the head is sort of a sphere, we're watching the light travel to the shadow side. So this transition is going to be very nice, slow, and soft. Whereas, other edges we're going to find to be very crisp, like the edge of the nose. But this is going to be, nice and soft as it goes around the edge there. All right. Okay. So decide if I want to put this same color. I've kind of put it. It's on my brush. I could use it elsewhere. How about up here? Let's add a little bit of that there. That edge. I think it needs to lighten up a little bit, and maybe I can kind of soften this right here. No, that wasn't right. A little bit lighter. Corner of the mouth, catching some light. My favorite spots, I don't know why, I just always like that in the anatomy of the face. Do you have a favorite spot in the face? Nope, only painting nerds have that. Yeah. Well, when I'm not streaming and painting, I'm oftentimes listening to something, so like a book, audiobook. And I forgot what I'm listening to right now. I forgot the name of the title, but it's this historical fiction about the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl and all that. Very, very interesting. So those I am no different from anyone else. I like a good story in the background, or just something to kind of occupy my thoughts as I'm painting. I'll just kind of lean back and get lost in the artwork and listen to a story or two. It's what I'll do on the boring days. Yeah, today I didn't have much of a plan. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to start. And then it was just like, no, today is St. Dymphna. I don't know why, but it's from the beginning. And I trust those little leadings and guidings. To see, just adding some of these shapes, and we're going to keep on doing so. I'm just shape chasing, making the adjustments that I think need to be done. And remember, these are kind of common things you hear painters and say all the time, but it's very true. Value is everything. So the reason why this is working is not the interesting color or color choices I'm making as much as the value. Is the value there and working? And if the value is there, and that's what determines its success. It's only working because of the value and for no other reason. And so, yep, gotta keep at it. Keep working the values until it works. So, for instance, I see this little edge that I have not added anything to yet, and I want to make sure that I get that right down into the lip because that's going to be an important value place. It needs to be dark right there so that it really sits back behind the bottom lip there, just like so. Yeah, and just a little bit more there, and even that little bit was just more detail that wasn't there before, and it's amazing how much that changes things. I'm always shocked, as I get near the end here, there'll be these little bits of this color that's still out there, not with no paint on it. The more I just cover that with something that's relatively correct, right? I'm not trying to put in the wrong color or value, but the more that I do that, the more it just continues to come together. So I think maybe we could put we should probably put the glint of the eye in there and just kind of watch it transform. I think that would be fun. I think I'm ready for that. I think the eyes are ready for that. So I'm going to grab just a little bit of white, kind of clean my brush off, maybe just a tad bit of yellow, some more white, a little bit of alizarin crimson so it can have a nice kind of cool red to it. And we'll just get a little bit on there and kind of see what happens here. And we add that. It's sort of centralized, but I'm still gonna kind of add it right in here-ish. And it's a very natural thing. As soon as it's added, it really sort of changes things. Really kind of makes her have life that she just hasn't had yet. I do see some other areas where in and around parts of the eyes, we have, just from, tear ducts, little glints of reflectivity here and there, and I'll put those into, and they just add, they give it that little umph. It's very nice. Just a little bit of life. Really transforms it. I've got a lot of same sort of edges up here too. Up to the edge of the eye here. Some here too. Like I said, I'm just searching. A lot of back and forth. If you were to, go back and look at this video and watch my head in the lower right, I'll look back. I'll look back. It just look. All right, I find something that just needs adjusting, swing in, make the adjustment, and then decide, okay, did that do it? And then go back to it. Look. Did that? All right, make the change. Find it, change it. Find it, change it. And that's it. Over and over and over again. until it's finally done. Good enough to move on. That's at some point I have to decide that, because otherwise I'll sit here forever. So it's a concept called Gitmo, good enough to move on. And it's every painting has to, you got to get there. I had just a little bit more on this eyelid. It's really illuminated. Top of this eyelid. Decide if I see it on that side. I don't. Probably you may be asking, like, where are your like eyelashes? And we're really just going to hint at those rather than put those in. And we'll hint at those with a little bit of color, and that will be the right thing to do, and not like, you know, oh, let's take a line brush and do it like that. No, the right thing to do is to kind of hint at it. Not put those in manually. That's too specific of information to be successful, so don't bother. All right, let's see. Kind of bouncing around now. Everything is, there'll be a lot that still needs addressed. But you'll see it in the overall cam. You'll see St. Dymphna's face right down at the bottom in future videos. And at some point will be exciting to kind of come back. Maybe I can do like a video over the whole thing or something. I don't know. I'm open to ideas, so if you've got them, I'll take them. Or yeah, or if there's something you'd like to see, yeah, let me know. Probably have another 5-10 minutes here. If you do have a question, now's the time. I can try to answer it before my time's up. It's a good time to ask. This is looking a little too cool here, too blue-green. So I was going to come in here, and you know, this is where, like I said, you know, try not to blend. I'm trying to avoid a lot of blending, but I just need to shift that so that it is not so green. So just a little more. That tends to happen though. I exaggerate certain areas, and which is it is yellow, more yellow and green around the mouth. It's very natural. Thing that happens in Caucasian skin tones, but yeah, sometimes I still have to pull back a little bit. My initial dropping in of the colors is like, well, I don't know if you can quite hang it on. So Rodney says, well, I'll be doing some glazing. I may. It just all depends on how successful this first layer is. If the first layer is successful, then I'm done. If I need to shift it or do some small changes, I may glaze on top. But what I haven't prepared for, what I haven't really made possible, is I didn't take into account making a glaze. By that I mean, if I was going to do that, if that was my intention, I should have been making it lighter from the start, so that the glaze that I add on top darkened it to its appropriate value. I did not do that. So it's very likely that I will just continue to put on opaque color until I like it. So I'll just, this will dry, I'll oil it out, and I'll work back into it as I feel like it needs it. And there's quite a few little areas that I'm gonna wanna put some on, put some color on top of so that it's just more successful. One of the nice things about like kind of using a glaze in a non-traditional way is, I can make a semi-transparent other little color mark here and there to soften some edges or add a little bit more color in a certain place. If I want like a little green or blue shift right here, I can add that in, and it will just kind of mix with the color that's there, right? So seeing a little bit more on this lip where it's lit on top, and didn't quite get that. And even like that shadow of mine here is a little dark. So I'm gonna put that in some. It's probably still, I probably lightened that too much. It's all right. Thanks for the question, Rodney. Appreciate it. Wish we could hang out. Let's grab lunch. Let's grab lunch in March. Or dinner, or whatever. All right. Well, everyone, I think it's about time for me to call it. I've got to clean up and then head home. Got to do a little small driving trip tonight. So I just want to thank you for watching. Please subscribe, because we're going to go through this whole painting. We're going to do the whole thing periodically when there's something interesting. So I would love to have you stick around and kind of see it come into being. Tried to include just about everything I could to so you can kind of watch the process. Even the camera off to the right here that just shows where where I am in the overall work. I think it'll be fun, and I'll just try to include the reference so you can see what I'm working from. And I guess with that, this is make sure to pop back from a couple hours ago and kind of see what happened and how much changed. I'll be interested to see what happened too. Just kind of one of those things that that's the way it goes. So thank you all very much. I'm going to get up and scooch out, get out of my thing, and look at this thing from the from behind, from way back. See what's working. Yeah, and even right now, I see a few things I would change as I step back and look at it. And so some things need some work. Because I'll step back and I'll squint. So I'm kind of squinting at it. I know you can't see, but I'm just stepping back and I'm looking at it all and deciding, okay, there's a few changes that need to be made on the face. So, hey, I want to thank you all very much. It was awesome having you along today. Blessings, and please tune in next time.